boy, what's up? It's Dominic D'Angelo of adfreeshows.com, SEScoops.com, and OneTrueSportTV.com. It's draft day, so you know what we're talking about. We're talking about the NFL draft. No, we're not. But I'm here with Robert Karpelis, WE Creative _ish. Oh, man.
Ish? WWE Creative
That's
That's kind of the way people felt after WrestleMania, so I understand. I will take that. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I just realized Dom and I look like we're matching. It's like we have uniforms, and the uniform is Amazon delivery guy. I'm kidding. They wouldn't let Dom drive a truck.
No.
We'll say hi to some of the folks joining us here live. Michael Parth, I'm not even reading these comments. I may be highlighting things we shouldn't, but Michael Partham says Triple H doesn't mention Rock in the Hall of Fame speech. Rock doesn't mention Triple H in reply to LaGreca's rant. I have no idea what that is talking about.
Don't know either. Don't know.
This may have been the thing that the guys were texting about something with Dave LaGreca and Rock. We haven't looked at it yet. I'll take a look at it shortly. Christopher Zanto. This is why I got to pre-read these things, guys. Sorry. Good morning, R&I family. Am I the only one who wants to slap that guy on Dynamite yelling through the whole show? You leave Ian Riccaboni alone. Willie Thornbrew says, who taught Travis Scott how to do a run-in Papa Shango? Thanks. There was punctuation that probably should have been somewhere in that sentence to make that make sense, but I think I understood the point. Yeah. Travis Scott is still coming down to the ring. He'll get there eventually. E says, was up. Listen to RVD 100 episodes. Some really great stuff. Is Dom and Marcus ever going to do a podcast together again? I'm out of town quite a bit. Feel free to bring in your degenerate, profane brother and let him join. Willie Thornbrew says, I really enjoyed WrestleMania. How was the live experience? Myself and Scott Chaplin, funny enough, we're talking about that actually at 12:30 Eastern today. We were going to record yesterday. Scott had a little bit of professional conflicts, so we pushed it to today. So Dom, you'll have it in your inbox in about 2.5 hours or so. It will be up this afternoon. If it's not up by 4 o'clock, go to @Dominic D'Angelo and threaten the tallest man in wrestling. Johnny Disco says, good day, R&I. 6'9" says, make him say, it's R&I. Yeah, it's 2025, and I watched a wrestling show open with Master P. And Wrestling Old Head down here says, good after morning, R&I. Is it me or a speedball like an unsuited Power Ranger who is also a Street Fighter character from Marvel versus Capcom? There definitely is a Temu Power Ranger. Maybe he's a VR Trooper. Remember the VR Troopers?
That kind of rings a little bit of a bell, but not too much. Who was your Power Ranger as a kid, Robert?
Who was my Power Ranger as a kid?
Yes.
I did not have a Power Ranger as a kid.
No?
No.
Oh.
I was like slightly older than the Power Ranger thing. I feel like that was like 95 maybe.
It was a little earlier. I was like 7, I think, when it came out.
I don't know. I remember it coming out like generally when I was in middle school. I wasn't a Power Rangers guy. But I am a Paul Heyman guy.
Ooh, yes.
And which I've told, if you go back in the Working Stiff archive, you can hear my Paul Heyman story in depth as to why I owe quite a bit to Paul E. Dangerously. But Paul E. was very dangerous with a live microphone on the Pat McAfee show, Dom.
I know. So we didn't get to talk about that yesterday. We had so much news to cover and everything like that. That was one of the things that didn't make the cut.
I'm glad we didn't talk about it because I did not get to watch it until this morning, and I watched all 45 profane minutes of Paul Heyman's masterclass on the Pat McAfee show. It was it was better than just about everything I saw over the course of WrestleMania week. That dude understands the mastery of how to tell a story. There was a little bit of Dudley-esque saltiness towards the crowd. Conversations about people's mothers and daughters and their cunning linguist skills. But yeah, Paul taking some shots at Shannon Sharp. Pretty sure he almost got Pat McAfee fired while he was on there. And my favorite was Cole, whom we love. We love Michael Cole. We love him. He's like Adam Cole, but slightly thicker. He's tremendous. He's wonderful. When he was trying to do the character story of how much did Seth Rollins pay you, and then Paul cuts it off $1 more than Vince paid you. That's why you didn't go to WCW, and that's why you're not going to Jacksonville.
Listen, you want to talk about the island relevancy? Paul Heyman knows how to stay on that island and orchestrate that island. Really fantastic stuff.
He's got some talking points that he's used that Elon on Mars line about 7 or 8 times. Yeah. And I get it, and it's fine. It's like a stump speech. It's like he's out there running for president of wrestling. But I heard 45 minutes of him. I've heard 30 minutes so far of the roast of WrestleMania with the leaked audio. And I don't know about you, Dom. I can confidently say, if you go into the archives of Working Stiff and check out the Wrestle roasts that we did, I would put every single one of those up against what I heard on that show. And you will not regret the time you spent with us, and you probably regret every dollar you spent. Now, I have not gotten to Paul's part of the roast. I'm fully admitting it. I heard he crushed it, but Tony Hinchcliffe, who is a professional comedian, apparently, geez. Now, where's Otis? He's in the casino eating the chips. Actual joke.
He said that?
There was an actual joke on this from a professional comedian. Awful. Truly spectacularly bad. I can understand why they were not releasing this. It's one of those things where by not releasing it, there's more intrigue than when you actually see it. It's like, there's that Jerry Lewis movie.
Which one?
The Day the Clown Died.
Yes. Okay. Yes.
For those of you who are unaware of it, there is an actual movie where Jerry Lewis, it's a Holocaust movie, where he's in a concentration camp dressed up like a clown leading children into the gas chambers. And it was so bad, so offensive, so uncomfortable that they never released it. So it gained this mythology around it. And then the people who have seen it have pretty much said, yeah, it's truly terrible.
My gosh.
Something that was not truly terrible. You know what? I'm going to do this right now. Let's pivot. Something that's not truly terrible at all, but absolutely incredible, are our friends at Magic Spoon. Hey! Magic Spoon makes high-protein, zero-sugar cereal and treats reinvented from your childhood so you can taste the nostalgia and not all that extra sugar and grossness. Magic Spoon has also launched a brand-new high-protein granola. It's true to the Magic Spoon promise. It's packed with protein, and it is so crunchy. You know how much you love the taste of those cereal as kids, and you don't want it to be disappointing like a Tony Hinchcliffe roast. And you can get $5 after your next order at magicspoon.com/rumor, or look for Magic Spoon on Amazon or in your nearest grocery store. magicspoon.com/rumor for $5 off. Unlike that roast, you're not going to regret it. It's going to be fully satisfying.
I love Magic Spoon. Yes, shout out to Magic Spoon on that one. Well, let's talk about something else that broke that you mentioned a little bit yesterday. Len mentioned a little bit yesterday. Not AEW, my God.
Wow.
WWE purchased AAA. And what was a big announcement before WrestleMania Night 2?
Now, technically, legally speaking, they're in the process of purchasing AAA. The acquisition will not complete until Q3, so please adjust your stock portfolio accordingly.
So, Robert,
what?
AAA, big Mexican wrestling promotion, well known. This is an acquisition.
I love the way you just said that. Well-known wrestling team, well known. Yeah, we all know who AAA is. Who was tuning in? Who was taking their lunch break on the East Coast, their breakfast break on the West Coast, tuning into Rumor and Innuendo that is completely unfamiliar with AAA?
Canadians?
They know about the AAA.
Okay. Well, what do you think of this acquisition, Robert? It's WWE casting a wider net, feeling like a bigger deal, even though they are the big deal. Pretty big acquisition, right?
It's an interesting acquisition. So it's funny. A few weeks ago, Scott Chaplin and I were talking about the wrestling landscape in the wrestling world, and one of the things that came up when we were discussing, we were talking about New Japan and the AAA, the AEW relationship, and we said, it's funny. AAA seems to have kind of fallen off the map. We used to hear a lot about the things going on with AAA, and then we saw the AAA associations with AEW and the spotlight that they were putting on a lot of their talent, and then it just kind of went quiet.
Mhm.
And we were wondering what was going on, and now we kind of know behind the scenes the WWE was in the process of acquiring AAA. They have been part of a global expansion, they being WWE, for a very long time. I remember when I was in the company all the way back in 2005, there were conversations around how we were going to have little regional territories, one in Europe, one in Japan, one in Mexico, and there were going to be exclusive stars there and then international stars that WWE had who would go down there, like a Rey Mysterio from Mexico, or we would go send Tajiri to Japan or William Regal over to the United Kingdom as a way to incorporate all of this. The idea of an NXT Mexico, I think, would have caused a couple of problems. I think there would have been some political issues. Mexico is still a very much an old school territory. Take from that what you will. So you don't want to run afoul of CMLL or AAA while trying to run down there. And the Mexican audience wants something that's going to be authentic. And if you go and put NXT Mexico down there, and it feels like the old Super Astros show that the WWF used to do, that crowd's going to immediately reject it. And when you have the eyeballs that TKO has and that WWE has, you can't afford any kind of misstep. So by acquiring a legacy promotion and being able to leverage their rings, leverage their talent, leverage their shows, they're using Jeremy Borash, who is incredibly knowledgeable about the world of AAA. And more importantly, you're getting that AAA library. So, what an opportunity to educate your global audience about Lucha Libre and AAA, educate them about the stars who have been in AAA, who are now in WWE, and those future stars, like we saw, Vikingo as part
Mhm.
of WrestleMania. And obviously, the most important luchador they have, greatest of all time, El Grande Americano.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mhm. Uh, as playing devil's advocate on this, the WWE purchasing them, I kind of compare it. I don't compare it, but I could compare it to Amazon buying Whole Foods, where they take away a lot of the personality that Whole Foods had, and kind of dispelling all of that. There's a lot that's gone from me. I used to work at Whole Foods and having all that, so it's a different. It's completely different than what it was. Is there a concern on your end, you think, from that perspective that WWE will take away some of that AAA personality that the Mexican fans are really beholden to?
No, like I said, if they really wanted to acquire a promotion lock, stock, and barrel to make their job easier, that's what they've gone ahead and done. If they wanted to just blaze their own trail and make their own thing, they would have just launched NXT Mexico and just said, this is our version of it, take it or leave it.
Hmm.
I don't know how many psycho clowns will be floating around.
Yeah.
I would imagine a few. I think that they have enough respect for the Mexican culture, the lucha culture, that this is a way for them to kind of piggyback off of it rather than try to, pave a brand new road.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, it's going to be very intriguing to see how that all develops, how much they embrace and put on the mainstream product of Lucha Libre. Yeah, you mentioned like El Grande Americano. There's another guy, Rey Mysterio. He might have some good input with some of that stuff as well. So
I remember that guy. It'll
yeah.
be interesting the people who've had issues in the past with AAA and
Hmm.
are now going to have to, play ball, like what the relationship is with Penta and Phoenix and AAA and what that's going to look like. They did have a lot of luminaries and folks up there on the stage. I wonder what's going to go on. Alberto Del Rio is a pretty big figure in AAA. He has been persona non grata in WWE. So it's going to be interesting to see. I know there have been some potential rumors that I think have been dispelled about Del Rio being released. That's all rumor and innuendo. But I'm going to do a quick Google search to make sure. I don't know. Um,
I haven't heard
I
any.
haven't seen it. I've seen this rumor, but I have not seen anything truly substantiated there. The thing that I'm kind of hoping is I know that Matt Riddle has a relationship, well, obviously with AAA, and would love to see that guy get another opportunity in the WWE. He is a world class talent.
Absolutely, yeah. His ceiling is still very high and should be higher right now, actually.
Nice pun that his ceiling is high. I see what you did there. Hey, it's almost like you host a show with Rob Van Dam.
Almost like a show with Rob Van Dam. And I'm excited because tonight we will do a show tonight.
So save your plugs. We don't have time.
I know.
We don't have time for that crap.
Segue was excitement because were you excited for AEW Dynamite, Rob?
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it.
What do you think?
That's on me for not seeing that coming. I'll be honest. So what's funny was I went to go sit down to watch last night's Dynamite early this morning, and I realized I didn't watch last week's Dynamite. So I went back and watched last week's Dynamite to bleed into this week's Dynamite. The Mania Dynamite, I thought, obviously had that amazing Ospreay Takeshita match, and the great finish with the Ops beating the Death Riders in a choke out that even Gunther thought was quick. But this week opened with Master P in New Orleans. I don't know who taught Master P how to throw punches after all these years, but man, they looked deadly.
Masterful, some may say.
What you did there.
Yes. WWE has Travis Scott. AEW responds with Master P. So,
well, at least they knew to get Master P into the ring.
That's it.
So,
he did not waste any time. That's the good thing about that.
He didn't waste any time, and I have not seen what's going on with Hook.
No.
It's been 2 weeks. I know that they said he was attacked off camera. He just came back. So
you didn't know he got concussed, right?
I didn't. That's what I was asking you as our news meteorologist here.
Yeah, he got a concussion pretty bad, it seemed, because he threw up in the ring. So I think he was taking some time off. And,
well, sometimes you read the booking and what's going to happen. We're kidding. We love our friends at All Elite Wrestling. I'm gonna pull up my notes from the AEW show, so you can follow along at home.
Yes.
Look, opening segment did what they need to do. You're moving many stories along all at once. You're leveraging a celebrity. Master P, obviously a huge wrestling fan. The No Limit Soldiers were a big part of WCW's success towards the end there. The Ops looking good. Samoa Joe, we had kind of telegraphed him even before the last pay-per-view that he was going to be the next challenger, whether it was Swerve or Moxley, as a good kind of bridge challenger before they get to All In. He is a good soldier, no pun intended, and will do that opportunity. The Death Riders coming out, then you get the Bucks and Okada, and then Swerve interfering, which then also brings out Kenny Omega. By my count, there were 6 members of the Death Riders. There were 5 members of the Ops, and if one of those Death Rider guys gets taken out, I smell some blood and I smell some guts.
Oh my goodness!
No ands, ifs, or buts
about that.
How about it?
Just I thought it was set up fine. Just like I think we've talked about this before, it doesn't really intrigue me just to set up a blood and guts match where if you move on from this Death Riders angle, that would intrigue me more. But
we're getting close. Look, they're setting up Joe and Mox. Joe got the choke out on John to make it seem credible that he could win. We know that Samoa Joe is not winning the AEW title at the next pay-per-view, so it's another kind of lame duck show, but Joe and Moxley should be a pretty good match. I feel like Joe can't have a bad match.
Yeah.
Well, unless you ask Tyson Kidd, but otherwise, it's from listening to that damn Tony Hinchcliffe. I enjoyed Ricochet, Mark Briscoe.
Very much so. Yes. And I like the finish too. Mark Briscoe getting the win. And, so, hey, if you do want to go back to that later on, Mark Briscoe has the one up on there. We talk about the star potential Mark Briscoe has. They talked about his being new to the singles run and everything like that. So I liked it. I liked it, Robert.
So I like that they referenced that $400,000 8-man tag match that they had previously.
Mm-hmm.
I think a missed opportunity. They talked about how Mark Briscoe got his $100,000 and he went to like the farmer's market to buy vegetables.
Yeah.
That should have been a segment.
Yes. Oh my God.
I want the $100,000 man, Mark Briscoe. I want him walking around in like a suit jacket, but just then the rest of his attire. Like you have the opportunity to do kind of what WWE did with Trevor Lee when they did the Cameron Grimes to the moon stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of fun potential there. Mark Briscoe's so wildly entertaining. That's what I want. Like money. Kevin Knight coming out to make the save to steal the scissors from Ricochet. And the best part, guys, this paid off later on in the show.
It did.
It sounds simple, but if you've been tuning into this show long enough, you notice a recurring theme of we set it up and then we never knock it down. Someone who knocked it out of the park for the brief window of time he was allowed to talk was Stokely Hathaway.
Yes, Robert. This was my highlight of the night. Just the pairing of FTR and Stokely. They're great as heels. It really charges things up, I think, in regards to
I feel like you're talking a lot more from me on that one than I was very narrow in my praise of that segment, Dom. I said Stokely was great. Stokely, wildly underused, one of the most valuable people that AEW has. And then FTR got on the mic and showed why Stokely is really good on the microphone.
Interesting. I thought everybody did a great job in this. What was your exceptions with some of that?
Cash Wheeler is not good at the speaking with his voice. He is the reason why you need to put Stokely with them to do the talking. You know, Dax can do the passionate stuff, but Cash is just overly telegraphing it. And the Rock and Roll Express, Robert Gibson and your Boca Raton Championship Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion Ricky Morton.
Oh, he's the champ.
He is the champ. Come out to the ring. How many times did they drag the Rock and Roll Express out there to murder them?
It's been quite a bit.
It's like they're getting to like Moolah and May levels. And
They're
where
like-
it's like, maybe for their own safety, just don't take the booking, guys.
They're like the drummer in Spinal Tap, where they just keep exploding and you have to replace them. But it's
Yes.
still a Rock and Roll Express.
The thing I like about Stokely being with FTR is I have been predicting for a number of weeks now, as the Nostradamus of Rumor and Innuendo, since I
Very
nailed
humble.
all of WrestleMania. I've been saying for a while now, since the beginning of this Hurt Syndicate angle, I really want to see this end with MJF and FTR back together. And now that FTR has Stokely, I think we're getting one step closer, Dom. I think we're getting one step closer. But on the plus side, good news for you FTR fans. They're going to be feuding with the hottest stable in the history of wrestling, the Paradigm. Sorry, the Paragon.
The Paragon. Yes.
That's two gons. They got
Two
a
gons,
they got them a Paragons.
They got them a Paragon.
I rarely do the Michael Hayes on here just because it's everybody does it and we all do it. And I've always said on here, I know Bruce likes to do the doot doot doot. It ain't that ain't the noise we made.
What is it?
It's ooh ooh bleep bleep. That was the Michael Hayes noise. It was always the Michael Hayes noise. Ask Alex Greenfield. Greenie will confirm that it would be, I got an idea, ooh, ooh, bleep, bleep, every single time. Never did we ever say doot, doot, doot. Something that we did say is, boy, this Kevin Knight's really good. And boy, this Speedball Mike Bailey is really good. And the Young Bucks, for as much as I dislike their gimmick, their promos, their faces, their presence, their existence in wrestling, their existence on this planet. They were good in this professional wrestling match that paid off with Ricochet interfering to go after Kevin Knight. Totally fine with me, Dom.
Yeah, this match was a lot of fun to watch. Kevin Knight, this was a good highlight for him. Like getting him to see like him holding his own against the Young Bucks, and then tying it all in with Ricochet. Was a big fan of it, Robert. Yeah, I thought they did right by all these guys here. So with you on that one.
Yes. Hurt Syndicate MJF segment. This was so weirdly nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
During the Eddie Batista storyline where Eddie was pretending to be Batista's friend.
Mm.
There was a pitch that that I had advanced that was going to involve something similar with Eddie Batista and Bobby Lashley and a vehicle,
Really?
and that Batista was going to be seen standing next to a car that Eddie was going to think was his and smash it up, only to find out that it was actually Lashley's car, and then lead to a match with Lashley and Eddie. Unfortunately, we ran into an issue with the rental company, and we were unable to do the segment. So seeing Bobby Lashley in a car segment with my boy MJF made me very, very happy. But we got to be getting close to a payoff, right, Dom?
I would think so, right? Yeah, we've been teasing it for weeks. I like the aspect though that they like get Shelton on board with the thumbs up and stuff like that. So there is that. Ooh, what is going to happen here? And then Bobby obviously takes advantage of it and drives off with MJS wheel. So it's a fun kind of thing. But yeah, we're getting close to where the payoff has to happen, I think, as well.
We got Will Ospreay and Brody King versus Konosuke Takeshita and Josh Alexander. I wasn't here last week to talk about the Josh Alexander debut.
Yeah.
But man, you gotta love. You know the best way to debut him, and then Hangman turn into Hardcore Holly. I got an idea. How about I beat him? Perfect.
Yeah.
I get it. It's fine. It makes sense. This tag match was it was very solid. It was a great physical match. It was a good follow up from what we saw last week with the with Ospreay and Takeshita. Archer was involved. Fletcher was involved. You got Hangman. Trent is back, and Rocky Romero. If they were there, who's watching catering?
Yeah, I did not expect to see them. I forgot about them. So apparently they're proud of the Dunkhouse family. So good.
Who isn't at this point?
Right.
I'll tell you who isn't. Chris Statlander is not. Neither is Jamie Hayter, and they were your AEW main event. I think the world of Jamie Hayter. I think she's incredibly talented. I think they're just so inconsistent with how they push her.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little frustrating, but we are going to get Jamie Hayter next week versus Mercedes Moné. The winner will face Timeless Tony Storm. It's almost like we kind of thought that was where this was going to go, but sometimes logical booking makes the most sense. And what makes the most sense for all of you is tuning in every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern on a plethora of platforms to Rumor and Innuendo. You can catch us at the WW Creative _ish X account, the at Dominic D'Angelo X account, the at SE Scoops X account, and on YouTube on Rumor and Innuendo, ad-free shows and working stiff. What an episode that we had today. On behalf of the Danny DeVito to my Arnold Schwarzenegger, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpelis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
WE Creative _.